It's time for another episode of the Tech Informist podcast. Let's begin. Welcome back, everybody. This is Kevin.
And Brad.
And on this episode, we're going to talk about all of these retro mini consoles.
Amazon brings Alexa to the Android shopping app this week.
Elon Musk tweets that Hyperloop One has the green light to begin work on a New York to DC run.
Germaphobes rejoice.
All right, so this is a little bit different. We are recording this on a Sunday back in Brad's place.
Woo!
Life changes. Things happen. People move on. And the
and
world continues to spin and go. How are things going, man? It's like we don't really get a whole lot of time to see each other do things and all that stuff. Cause
busy at work.
Busy folks. Putting in a lot of hours, even overtime.
When I get a chance. Right now.
That's cool. That's good stuff. But it just so worked out that, hey, we both had Sunday off, which is
a rarity.
In and of itself odd, because for those of you who may have heard me mention this before, I work with my special needs stepson on Sundays and Mondays, typically 16-hour days, but had to reschedule a few things, so hey, I'm off on Sunday. And hey, so's Brad.
Which I normally work every Sunday.
Exactly. So hey, this is all working out great. So yeah, we're probably going to get this out a little bit later than usual, but it happens. That's the joy of podcasting, is you can listen/enjoy this whenever you feel like it.
Podcasting is a time machine.
It is a time machine, and you can visit it almost any time that you want. Which, speaking of, and I know this is not in the show notes, did you happen to see the Ready Player One trailer?
I didn't.
And I just bring that up because there's a DeLorean that looks like the time machine from Back to the Future. So it's a Steven Spielberg film. He's at least associated with it. So this is like all retro stuff. It's pretty wild. So I think 80s, 90s kids are going to really enjoy this.
Only 80s and 90s kids will remember this.
Yeah, we'll remember a lot of things that I think we'll see in this. I'm curious. I'm going to have to watch it again because some people were talking about certain characters and I didn't see them in there. Well, we'll have to check that out. Anyway, we got a lot more of that kind of discussion in the App Entertainment hardware picks.
Quite a bit this week, actually.
Which is going to be a little bit further. Probably not that much further away because we don't have a whole lot of tech news this week. But we did want to talk about, obviously it's no secret that this retro console, mini console, classic, blah, 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 craze is a thing. It's legit. Nostalgia is all
kind of taking off now.
It is. Like, everybody is getting on board. But, I mean, Atari's been doing this for a while with their Flashback console series.
But they haven't really looked like something that I would want to put on my shelf necessarily.
No, because they're just simple plug in and play and not really what you would expect, because I think Nintendo did it right with your NES Classic, because it was an actual first-party product, not a, hey, we're just going to use the Atari license and some third-party company is going to make something that feels cheap, doesn't work very well, and
breaks
not
after a couple months of use.
Which is why you typically see them on shelves and on sale and stuff like that, trying to clearance them out because people aren't really buying those.
No.
Man, with that Nintendo, everybody, and their brother and sister wanted it.
Speaking of, we managed to both get our pre-orders in for the Super NES, which I did not even think that was going to be an option for myself.
Yeah, that somehow just magically popped up out of nowhere.
It's kind of all due to you.
Friday night, I just happened to open up a new tab in Facebook because I was going to search for somebody on my wife's friends list from our cruise back in March, our head waiter. I wanted to make sure that I had his name being spelt right. So I opened up this new tab, Facebook, and the very first post I see, it said the Walmart pre-orders were live. I'm like, what? So, this is even something that Brad said. He's like, when you find out, get yours first, then let us know. Make sure to get yours. So I did. I ordered mine, and then I immediately put that in the Facebook Messenger to you and Justin. I'm like, go get it now.
And that's what I did. And just so happens they take PayPal credit. So that's what I did.
Yeah, so So this was all through Walmart, of course, and it was very odd timing. It was almost like 10 o'clock at night Central Time.
It was, yeah. So it was like in the 10-ish o'clock range.
It was weird.
Friday night, everybody's out having fun, whatever. I'm sitting at home like a bump on the log for whatever reason. Lo and behold, just sitting and watching, Netflix, YouTube, that kind of thing. I get a message. Hey, pre-orders are live.
What?
Bro?
Exactly.
So I went to double check to see if I could still get one, and it let me. And I started getting a little nervous and anxiety. I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually going to get this thing
Is
without
this thing
having
actually
to
going to
stand
work?
in line.
Yeah.
And I even had to sign up for Walmart because I don't shop there regularly by any means. And it's like, oh yeah, your pre-order, there you go. It'll be ready for you to pick up October 4th or something.
Right. Yeah, I went ahead and just chose the shipping option, and it says it should be at my place by October 6th. Final total is like $84 and some change, count the tax.
Yeah, and like, what day is it supposed to launch? The 29th?
29th, yeah.
Yeah, and getting it a couple days later doesn't bother me because all of those games I've played minus the new release of Star Fox 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's beside the point. But the fact that I will finally get to play Super Metroid on a big screen kind of makes me excited.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not the same. Yeah, we could put all these games on our NES Classics. I kind of already did that. I just put the original 30 for the NES Classic on there, and I also took these 21 that's going to be on the Super Nintendo Classic and put it on my NES Classic as well. And it's like, yeah, I've got both in one unit.
I kind of grabbed like a bunch of the ones that I know I would play a lot of, because I think Justin just has all of the NES Classic stuff on his.
Yeah, all the original NES. Because I don't think... No, he hasn't brought his back to get it reflashed or anything like that. I guess he's messed with my Retro Arc or whatever install. I don't know. It's all a convoluted mess these days with all of that. But so anyway, I think Nintendo's doing it right. I don't know if these pre-orders from Walmart, though, real quick, some people have said theirs have been canceled. Obviously, some people are going to try to buy more so they can sell and all that stuff and scalp them.
Well, and I think they kind of did it right this time. They just kind of stealthily released it, which kind of let them open longer for us norms who, like, we are paying attention to that stuff, but it's for whatever reason, like maybe we don't have the fastest internet, or maybe we, for whatever reason, can't refresh the page fast enough, or, the problems you run into when they give you a specific time and date when something launches and you can never get a hold of it. This whole stealth release kind of felt better.
In a way it did, because you could actually get it ordered and get through checkout without the website having an issue, because like whenever Amazon would announce, hey, on this day at this time, we're going to open up the ordering process for the NES Classic, Amazon's site would just get crushed with the traffic. So I guess by doing this non-announcement thing, I think obviously it worked out well, because the pre-order stayed up a good 30 to 40 minutes, which is very odd, because once stuff like that hits Twitter and Facebook and starts getting shared, I mean, it spreads fast.
Spread like wildfire in the Nintendo voice chat, or Nintendo voice chat? Yeah.
All
podcast.
those Facebook groups, man. It was just flooded with multiple posts about it being open. And like I said, I only ordered the one.
Yeah,
some people ordered multiples, and I don't know if there's a...
Maybe that's why some of their pre-orders got canceled.
It could be, because I don't know if they've stated, yeah, mine got canceled because I ordered multiples. Because I know that's what Amazon UK did. They canceled people's pre-orders, or at least knocked them down to just one, where they couldn't have multiples.
Well, see, I think that's fair, though.
It is, yeah.
Because, I mean, if you want one and maybe your wife wants one, maybe you should have your wife log in and have her get her own one.
That's kind of a challenge, though, there. If you're both a married couple shares an account, if it's tied to like one per account, that's kind of an issue.
Yeah, I don't mess with that sharing account stuff. That gets people in trouble.
It does, yeah. So anyway, we've got ours. They haven't been canceled as of Sunday, the 23rd, at the moment we record this. Ours are still good.
I was going to say, I feel like we got in early enough, and I feel like Like, we weren't toxic about it. We didn't try to order like 4 of them or something stupid.
Right.
We just ordered the one, and that was the one for us, and that's it. So I think we'll be fine.
Got in probably within 10 or so minutes. And if they're allotted, we'll just say they're allotted 25,000 units. Surely we were in early enough to where, like, yeah, okay, anything above 25,000, yeah, we're going to have to cancel because we're probably not going to be able to fulfill that first wave.
Right. And it's a lot of those like last minute ones, I would imagine, that could have been canceled just due to, hey, these numbers didn't match up in the system. We have to cancel these. Sorry.
In some reports, people are saying that they've talked to Walmart representatives that say, oh, yeah, it was a mistake. We weren't supposed to open them up. We're supposed to open them up this following week. And like, I really hope we don't have to deal with that. Walmart's notorious for trying to pull that BS about, oh, yeah, it was a quote-unquote accident, just like most pricing errors, quote-unquote accident.
But even if it is an accident, all that stuff's, like, spoken for now. Like, they got their money and they sold. So, like, I guess from a business standpoint, they wouldn't want to cancel all that stuff and try to redo it again. But from a consumer, like, PR standpoint, they want to say those things. That way it makes them look like they're not the bad guy.
Anyway, we hope we'll get ours. There's been a little bit more information about Atari and their, they've got another Flashback console, but then they're also working on that other one too.
Yeah, and this one looks actually like something that I would want to put on my shelf.
It looks
straight out of the 80s.
Yeah.
With a little, I don't know, straight out of the 80s with a little, like, new age flair, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like the old classic Atari 2600 with the wood look, and then some of them have a black and red design to it that really looks sharp. No real information yet on games or anything like that yet, or other than, I don't even know if they've got a confirmed release date yet.
I mean, you'd have to want to get the black and wood one, right?
For me, since that's what I grew up having was the Woody edition, I would definitely probably go for that one. But man, that red and black one looks
I mean,
sharp.
It looks sharp in it. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. There's something about that terrible, terrible wood grain that they put on all those consumer electronic parts back in the 80s. It just screams nostalgia.
Total tradition, yeah. So it's going to play a lot of classic Atari titles and also some newer ones. Sega has also kind of licensed another... This isn't the first time that Sega's done some of these little mini consoles.
No, but this one looks more, I don't know, like the original?
It definitely looks more like what Nintendo's trying to do with their stuff. This one actually looks like a little Sega Genesis. It's called the Sega Genesis Flashback. It's supposed to have like 85 games on it. Pre-orders, I think, on this are also supposed to come out on July the 28th. So hopefully we'll find out. It's supposed to retail for about $60. So $60 isn't too bad.
For 85 games?
Yeah, it comes with 2 controllers, and hopefully it'll work out a lot better than some of these other Sega nostalgia classic consoles that have sound issues and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the kind of last thing that we heard at least I heard this week, was that supposedly the Nintendo 64 is in the works.
Yeah, some patent trademark procedures have been going through, and you're all about the Nintendo 64, huh?
Well, the problem is what games are going to be available, because a lot of them are
rare games,
rare or licensed, and as you know, Microsoft owns Rare. That could get tricky
with GoldenEye, and especially GoldenEye, because GoldenEye was
not only was it a Rare game, but it was a James Bond game. So those two kind of encompass a
lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but that game did usher in the first-person shooter, essentially.
I mean, if I could have Perfect Dark, Banjo-Kazooie, Mario 64, Mario Kart, and what's another great one? Like Star Fox, games like that.
I'd like Rogue Squadron or something like that. Those
Rogue
really
Squadron would another difficult one that would be
or
because of Star
Pokemon
Wars.
Stadium or something like that. I mean,
They could do Pokemon. Yeah, I could see that happening.
Donkey Kong 64, Mario.
See,
Super
a lot of
Mario
people
World.
give Donkey Kong 64 a lot of hate, but I enjoyed it, actually.
I think a lot of people would actually like to see Diddy Kong Racing, but that could also be a licensing issue.
Ooh, yeah. I don't know.
A lot of I mean, obviously a lot of great games and a lot of junk games on there, but I don't know. Let's just get the Super Nintendo Classic out first. And as of right now, knock on wood, my Amazon UK order of the Super Famicom Classic
It's still
good. It's still live, so they haven't canceled it yet.
Guess we'll see what happens.
And, I mean, they'd already canceled all those other ones weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, God, I'm so hoping I can have both designs
That would be cool.
to put on the TV stand or just a shelf somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Because I won't need to play the other one. I'll just need to play the one. So, pumped.
And again, I think the Super Famicom has the cooler looking
Design.
controller, at least.
Yeah. Button colors, yeah. It does look kind of nice. I mean, I don't mind the purples and the grays and stuff, but...
No, I mean, I grew up with it. It's just, once you see the Super Famicom, you're like, man, what the heck? Why didn't we have this?
Why couldn't we have had that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Kind of makes you wish, though, even with just the Super Nintendo, they would have just went with red buttons.
Yeah.
Continue with the NES.
Exactly. So, I mean, you can kind of get that if you get a 8-bit-do controller.
Yeah. Those controllers are fantastic. I'm really liking it. I'm glad to see they're getting a lot more coverage. and
I'm
a lot
glad
more
that
stuff
Nintendo's going to use the same port, so if you still want to use that, you can.
Yeah, it'll be nice.
I mean, after all, this is 2017. I don't need a cord attached to my controller anymore.
Right. And I do have the wireless Super Nintendo one. I think you've got the Famicom looking one, don't
I
you?
do.
So that'll be nice to have, maybe pick up a second one.
Mm.
That way you can both have 2-player wireless.
Yep.
That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So Amazon is actually finally bringing their Alexa services to their Android shopping app, and it's supposed to be this coming week. I think it's kind of nice. I don't know if I'd really use it. I mean,
I really wish they kind of broke it out and had its own separate thing, how Cortana is on Android. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's an option for that, or maybe that's something they'll work on in the future. I'm curious to use it. But again, I have a Google Home. I barely use it. I don't know. I listen to podcasts on it more than anything because it's just, I can just cast right to it. It's simpler than dragging out my Harman Kardon or trying to connect via Bluetooth. It's just cast, done.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. Sometimes these virtual assistants, a lot of it will help make sense. Like if you're got your hands full or something and you need to ask a question or something. And
yeah,
it's kind of funny showing my dad some of this stuff. I'll just say, okay, give the command or something, and next thing you know, it's looking up whatever.
Careful, there's one in the room.
I know, there's one in the room, and who knows what it's listening to. But no, I think it's kind of neat that they're at least putting it in there. Obviously, it'll take a while for them to get approval to push something out on their iOS app, because Apple's a little bit more tightened.
Yeah, and they have kind of loosened that grip a little bit. And it feels like Android's going the other way where they're kind of tightening that grip. Mm-hmm. So they're sort of trading off in certain things and getting better about other things. I hope that they sort of continue down those paths so that Android becomes safer and iOS becomes a little more open to, different ideas.
Yeah. I mean, you really can't have Alexa on the go per se, just because, again, until it's like really a big thing on smartphones, then you're kind of just stuck using it at home or the office.
Well, I don't see any reason why you couldn't have an option, even on just on Android, let's say, where you can replace that digital assistant.
Yeah,
with
choose your assistant.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like you choose your keyboard.
Exactly.
I don't see a problem with this. I mean, I know iOS is super careful about, you have to type in your password, so here's the crappy keyboard.
Right, you got to default to the iOS keyboard.
Right when it matters for each character to be exactly what it needs to be, I have to use the crappy keyboard.
I have to use an unfamiliar keyboard.
Yeah.
But no, it is kind of a thing, and yeah, we'll see. I'll try it out whenever it does drop on Android later this week. Because I placed an order for a couple of products on Amazon yesterday, for some screen protectors and cat toys.
Sounds like my house.
Yeah, so tech toys and cat toys. It's all about the cats. Got to make the cats happy. And when I saw this story earlier this week about Elon Musk tweeting out that he reportedly has a green light to build a New York to Philly to Baltimore to Washington, D.C. Hyperloop. So this is all for the Hyperloop One. I really hope the people of St. Louis, Kansas City, and the state of Missouri don't screw this up to where we kind of get bypassed like we do with everything. But man, this is awesome to know that, hey, it's coming. It's like really going to be something. And how awesome would it be to fly to New York or fly to D.C. and then just be able to go back and forth between those two cities and stop at Philly or Baltimore, all within like 29 minutes.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I mean, I don't know if people really have a grasp on how life-changing this could be, because you could potentially live, car-wise, hours away and get there in minutes.
Right. In the amount of time it takes to watch a TV show.
Yeah.
A regular sitcom, 22 minutes.
Surf through all your different social media feeds or
catch up on emails. Yeah. This is cool. So he supposedly has verbal government approval.
Yeah, they just need to put it on paper now.
Right. Yeah, so he tweeted out, just received verbal government approval for the Boring Company to build an underground New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, D.C. Hyperloop.
I mean, you would think that President Trump would be able to kind of, hey, guys, you want to get this going so I can take the train?
Yeah, I mean, he'd love to be able to go back to D.C. like he...
Have his own little cabin or whatever rented out.
Yeah, his own little presidential pod.
Yeah.
We'll call it it's already Hyperloop One, so can't use Air Force One or Marine One.
Pod One.
Yeah. POTUS One. I don't know, it'll be interesting, and I guess it'd be really fitting hyper. But hey, that's beside the point. I don't want to get too political about anything. But no, it's cool. City center to city center in each case, with up to a dozen or more entry-exit elevators in each city. That's cool. Get on, get off. Hey, 5-10 minutes. You're New York to Philadelphia or New York to Baltimore. I mean,
this whole tunnels underneath cities is a really, really good idea. Obviously, places like New York could be a little more challenging
due to the subways,
the
same with DC.
The sewers, all the underground electrical thing. It's going to be a challenge, but if there's a man that can get it done, it's Elon Musk.
Right.
I mean,
and his team.
He is, after all, a rocket scientist.
Yeah. It's kind of the same way it is in Washington, D.C. You got the underground subsystem there.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Washington, D.C. is built on a swamp, so that's another challenge. But hey, they were able to do it with the metro system there, and you got to go pretty down deep underneath street level to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it works real well. I really do like the metro system in D.C. This would be even better.
It really would.
So awesome. All right, Brad. So would you consider yourself a germaphobe, to where you feel like anything you touch in a public place, you almost feel you have to wash your hands before you do anything?
Potentially, only because being a painter for so long, when I painted cars, people have nasty, oily hands, so I get that oils on my hands, and I can feel it. So I know immediately I got to get that oil off my hands, otherwise I'm going to ruin the paint. Obviously, I don't have to worry about that anymore, but I still have that sort of ingrained into me. So anytime I touch somebody's nasty, oily devices, or maybe a doorknob that's been touched too many times, it's like, ugh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this story came out this week that LG Innotek is releasing the world's first handrail UV LED sterilizer. So we've all been to malls or other facilities that have the escalators with those rubber rail things that you use to hold on to.
Have a light that, up at the top of the rail, have a light that shines down on the rail that sterilizes it as it's going around the little loop that it does.
Every time it makes that pass through this thing, like
I might actually use that rail.
Yeah. So you look at it and you're like, that's kind of cool. I mean, again, I'm not this huge germaphobe when it comes to the majority of things, just because it's you got to expose your body to some germs.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to have a very weak, unprotected immune system that's not going to know what to do when it's introduced to something.
When it gets hit hard.
Yeah. It's not going to be quite as strong. And then there's a lot of things that it's, what you don't know won't hurt you, because a lot of people, and that's a perfect example, is if you know something has been contaminated, you won't touch it. Mm-hmm. But if you don't know it's been contaminated, it doesn't bother you.
Yeah.
Or same thing when people eat certain foods. I heard somebody talking not too long ago that they thought they were just eating regular steak, and it ended up being like cow tongue. And as soon as they found out it was cow tongue, they immediately stopped eating it, even though 5 minutes before
it was okay.
Oh, it was.
That's how my sister was with tuna. She would not eat tuna as soon as she found out it was tuna. So my dad had cooked up a nice little hamburger helper and said it was chicken, and she, scarfed everything down. It was so good. Would you have that again? Yeah, that was tuna. You're so mean. It's like, you enjoy it. I don't understand. Like,
it's that whole mental thing. People have to get over the mental hurdle of things.
I think it's depending upon the person you are. Mm-hmm. So if I say I don't like something, right, and then somehow I accidentally have it and turns out that I like it, I'm not going to be mad. I'll be like, oh, that's kind of cool. I guess I do like this now. Doesn't bother me one bit. I mean, I don't like raw tomatoes, but if I get a raw tomato on my sandwich at Burger King, I'm not going to pitch a fit about it. I'll usually eat through it or bite into it. And, sometimes you bite into it and you kind of drag it off the sandwich as you're biting it.
It's like if it comes out with my bite,
I'm going to let it fall.
I'll probably just let it come out.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to, I got to tear this sandwich. I can't believe it. I mean, I know people that just throw a complete fit if there's like lettuce on their taco or something.
I know.
Shredded, like they just go completely ballistic. I'm like, you gotta calm down,
It just depends on the type of person you are, I guess.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. I don't think I can be like that.
No, me either.
Like, I mean, people make mistakes, obviously, when you're prepping food. You're getting paid minimum wage or just a little above it. Oh, so they left some lettuce on. And if it's the big leafy lettuce and you're still going to go throw a big fit, seriously, you really need to check yourself. Really reevaluate your life, because all you got to do is take that top of the bun or whatever it is and just pull the piece of lettuce off, set it in the wrapper, set it in the bag, or set it on the tray, put your bun back on. You're all good to go. All good to go. You don't need to have to make another sandwich and blah, 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 or throw it back at them. Yeah, it's like, geez.
Waste time.
But no, I think this is kind of cool what LG is doing, and not sure just yet when this is going to start rolling out, but I know it is supposed to wipe out 99.99% of the germs on the surface of a handrail. I like that
0.99 instead of just 0.9.
Yeah, so it's going to be like at the bottom, or as soon as you get on, that's where the thing's going to be.
Yeah,
so
that
you
makes
have
sense.
the cleanest, most germ-free portion of the handrail to grab.
Yeah, so if the escalator's going down, it would be at the top, and vice versa.
Yeah. So I think it's kind of cool that they're doing something like this for those people. I hate saying it like that, but sometimes you just kind of have to. All right, it's time for the app entertainment and hardware picks. And this week, I'm going to let Brad kick this one off. Go ahead, Brad.
So, those of you may know, Dunkirk came out this weekend. And for those of you who also may know, it was directed by Christopher Nolan. He's made some amazing movies recently, and I feel like every time he makes a new one, it just gets better and better and better. I really firmly believe he's kind of that new I don't know, Steven Spielberg or new insert director here. He's got that flair that no one else kind of has right now. So anytime you see his movie, not only do you know it's his movie because it's usually shot in the IMAX form, which is, what is it, like 70 millimeter or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Or 35. Anyway, beside the point. I mean, he does not like to use CGI, like, at all. He, in fact, hates CGI all the way to the point where, like, you're watching Dunkirk, and supposedly when you see the beach with all the soldiers on it, there are points when some of those soldiers are just cardboard cutouts. And all of the vehicles used were legitimate working World War II vessels or aircrafts, and to just understand that much is... It sounds dangerous, yes, but I think if you're working with the right people, you can get away with working all of that stuff just fine.
I can imagine it probably bumped the cost of production up quite a bit, having to use those classic vehicles or just recreated vehicles.
But the way it seems sometimes is CGI can take up even more of those resources, right? Because you got to get it looking, perfect now.
A lot of time and software and people go into it.
With everything shot in 4K, 6K, they'll be able to, super sample from it. Everything's going to look sharp and crisp now from here on out. I mean, fooling the audience with CGI is harder than ever.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that he doesn't even like it to begin with, it kind of helps his film sometimes.
Right. Yeah. I want to see it. It just, this weekend just didn't work out to get a chance to go see it, but it is definitely something I'll probably see in the next couple weeks. Hopefully I can catch it in IMAX. I think you said you kind of wish you would have seen it in IMAX.
Yes. It is worth noting that Hans Zimmer, once again, did the score for one of his movies, and if you know anything about Hans Zimmer, he's kind of like the John Williams of our generation. So... he's done some really interesting stuff, and his music really sticks with you, even though when you're listening to it, it does not sound like it should fit with the movie, but it always does. I don't know how he does it.
Hans Zimmer, people like Hans Zimmer, is it John Williams that does Star Wars?
Mm-hmm.
Those guys just have it.
Yeah. It's like they can see music in the air or something. Like they have this sixth sense about music, and they just know how to sculpt it, create it into something that's memorable and that will create some kind of genuine emotion. Because most of the time I listen to a soundtrack, I'm like, it's okay. But with Hans Zimmer or John Williams, you kind of feel more emotion out of their music than anything.
You can just listen to the soundtracks on their own and know what it is that's being portrayed on the screen, as opposed to what some people are like, I kind of have no idea if this is like an action scene or what, or like an emotional kind of scene.
Yeah, and speaking about the movie directly, it kind of has you on the edge of your seat the entire movie. I mean, the entire movie is just one long anxiety-packed, story, and it's actually a couple stories wrapped into one, and it sort of becomes clearer as the movie progresses a little bit. But once you start seeing those stories like kind of take shape, it's pretty incredible how they weaved those in. I think not really spoilers, so if you are worried about spoilers, I guess maybe skip ahead, I don't know, a minute or two. But essentially one story is a day long, an hour long, a day long, and then a week long. And that's how all three of those stories sort of coalesce and create this one giant story. And if you're going in thinking this is going to be Saving Private Ryan, oh yay, the good guys won again, this is not that story. So check your expectations.
Yeah, or go check out Wikipedia or something like that to learn about new Dunkirk before you go see it.
If you've known anything about Dunkirk, you would know, and especially you World War buffs, you would know it is not a happy story. We were, not we, the British and the French were running from the enemy. They were getting their tails kicked. And that's what this movie is about. And there are some gleams of hope in it, obviously. I mean, they're not completely all just, dark and dreary, but the movie is about that kind of dark time. So, and you even see it on, in quotations, the good guys' side as well. You have them fighting amongst each other for silly reasons, and people just can't. It's war. That's just what it boils down to.
Oh yes,
highly, highly recommended. Another fantastic movie. On IMDb, it's 8.8 out of 10, which is pretty good. On Metascore, or the Metacritic.com, it's a 94. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's pretty high. What would you give it out of 4?
Out of a 4?
Or whatever your typical rating.
Oh, so like out of a 10?
Okay.
I would definitely go like 9.5.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
It's almost perfect score for you. Wow.
It is fantastic. Okay. I will be owning that movie as soon as it comes out, like with any other Christopher Nolan movie lately.
Okay, cool. I definitely need to go check it out. And I know a friend of the show, Daryl Pritchard, got to go see it as well recently. And
let us know what you think, Daryl.
Yeah, I mean, I did see on Facebook. I don't think he puts it as high as you did, but he still enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I mean, again, if you go in looking for something different, maybe you won't enjoy it as much, but don't take our word for it. Maybe just go see it yourself and see what you think.
All right. It's one of the nice things about Marcus Warenberg theater chain here in St. Louis is on Tuesdays. You can go catch those movies for $5.
I'm still not used to that name change, by the way.
I know, and get free popcorn too, so that's cool.
Yeah, that is kind of neat.
It's a small little bag, but seriously, how much popcorn do you need? It's not supposed to be a meal; it's a snack.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, it's cool. All right, next up, you've also got Rick and Morty.
So I've been told by multiple people to watch said Rick and Morty show. It's kind of Family Guy meets Doctor Who.
That looks like Back to the Future based on the character design.
Yeah, it's kind of a bunch of things coalesced into its own thing. And what I've really noticed about this show that kind of sets it apart from pretty much every show right now is the dialogue. It sounds like when some of the actors or the voiceover people are doing their lines, there's times that I don't know if they do the burp on purpose because it was part of the character, or if they stutter on purpose, or if it's just kind of... I'm not sure what the dialogue or the thought process is behind it, but it's actually kind of genius because that's kind of really how most of us talk anyway. Mm-hmm. And when you start working on podcasting, you start editing things for yourself, you pay attention to those things.
Right, yeah.
And to kind of see that in a show, it's a little refreshing because it's like, maybe everything doesn't have to be so polished and perfect all the time. So I appreciate that. However, the show itself, I'm going to be honest, I don't know what to think about it yet. I'm like 10 episodes in. I still don't know what to think about it. But I guess it's worth saying I'm 10 episodes in and I'm still watching.
Yeah, you're still in there.
So, I mean, it's something. Yeah. I don't know what to say of it. I couldn't really rate it right now because I feel like I haven't seen enough of it. They're only like 20-minute episodes. They're not very long. Again, they're Family Guy-esque. There's some kind of
Adult Swim stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, they're kind of a little darker humor, a little edgier. Not like, I don't know, anime edgy or whatever you want to say. But
not nasty stuff, but...
No, not completely. I mean, it gets a little raunchy, I guess, but not nearly to the level of some anime.
I've only seen one episode, and I'm still like you, kind of. I guess I need to see some more because it really didn't hook me the first episode. I'm like,
Yeah, and that's the weird thing. It's not that it's hooking me necessarily. It's that I'm just genuinely curious to see where this goes.
Yeah. And I guess and
maybe that's the hooking point. I don't know.
That a success because it's got you keep watching it. And you're watching it on Hulu, I guess.
Yeah, so it's on Hulu right now. I don't know about anywhere else, but the new episodes are going to start coming out July 30th. So this next week, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Today's the 23rd, so
I got some catching up to do.
A week from today or so. So I got a chance to go see Baby Driver in
Which
theaters.
I'm going to be honest, not only does the name for that movie kind of suck, but initially, like, I had no interest to see this movie, and now I'm a little fascinated.
Yeah, I don't really get into like Fast and Furious. I mean, I've seen the newer Gone in 60 Seconds from, I guess it's about 10
2001,
years.
2000, something like that.
Yeah, so it's been a while since that came out. And that was pretty good, but normally the car chase
Doesn't really do it for you.
No. And typically the whole crime syndicate kind of stuff like that just doesn't do a whole lot for me, but this is pretty dang fantastic. I mean, again, you were talking about the music and stuff for Dunkirk and the sounds and stuff. The soundtrack, it reminded me a lot of like Guardians of the Galaxy, how the soundtrack helps make the movie as fun and enjoyable as they are. This kind of helps along with it too, because music and stuff plays a central... It's like its own character.
So what kind of music is it? Is it eclectic, or is it kind of one genre?
It's some stuff that you will be familiar with, and others it's just kind of in that same vein, same genre, kind of some higher paced stuff like that.
Okay.
Some really good stuff, and I really enjoyed it. I love Kevin Spacey. I love Jamie Foxx, John Hamm.
Yeah,
all play great characters. I'm trying to remember what the name of the lead character is a younger guy, and he did a fantastic job. And I don't really know what else. There was a couple twists like, ooh, I did not see that coming.
Ansel
Elgort. Yeah, so he plays Baby, the driver. And I don't know, it's really cool. Just really interesting. If you've got any thing where it's just you were hesitating on going and seeing it just for whatever reason, I would go see it. And IMDb, what are they, like a 90-something on Rotten Tomatoes?
So Metacritic on this is 86, which is still really high.
Right.
And 83 on IMDb, which is still pretty decent.
Yeah, I think in the United States, and I just heard the statistic the other day where it said that Baby Driver had only been out like a couple weeks, and Tom Cruise's The Mummy had been out for much longer. Baby Driver had already made way more money than The Mummy has in the United States.
I think I'm alone in saying this, but I still think this is quite true. I don't like almost any movie that Tom Cruise is in, and I kind of feel the same way about Ben Affleck. It's just one of those actors for me that
there's
never
some
does
actors, that just don't do it for a person. I can see why Tom Cruise isn't going to... Tom Cruise in The Mummy, to me, it makes no sense. I haven't seen the movie, and I'm not going to... I have no plans.
If I wanted to watch Grandpa run after a mummy, I would have watched Harrison Ford.
Right.
It would have been probably more enjoyable.
Indiana Jones or something.
Yeah. Just saying.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole Mummy reboot, that makes no sense to me whatsoever.
It's part of their dark cinematic universe, Kevin.
Jeez, yeah, I know, but I just don't. I'm not buying into it. Brendan Fraser.
Nope, me either. Brendan Fraser is way better.
Yeah, he's so funny and brought some humor to it, and it was entertaining.
It was a lot more entertaining. I would rather go back and watch that.
And the actor that played Jonathan, just the whole dialogue and the lines and stuff was really well done. And there was something else. Ooh, I want to see Kong Skull Island. I still need to see that. I know it's out on DVD.
I've heard good things about that as well, so that's another one I need to go see.
Yeah, I need to check that out.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, it's available to watch at home now, so we can check that. And recently, wife and I started watching a new Netflix series called Ozark with Jason Bateman.
Missouri?
Yeah, like Lake of the Ozarks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, they even mentioned, St. Louis Cardinals and Osage Beach and stuff like that.
I know what these things are.
I know. It's like, man, it's almost in my own backyard because it's just a couple hours away.
I mean, might as well be compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. We're probably 4 episodes in, and I would have to say so far it's really well done. I like Jason Bateman. I know a lot of people
I do too, a lot.
Don't, but there's just his delivery,
yeah,
it's so funny, so dry sometimes.
That's why I like him.
But it's good. Laura Linney plays his wife. A couple new kids play the children. He's a kind of self-employed investment banker kind of person whose their business and his business partner kind of dissolve and then kind of go in the way. It's a drug cartel kind of thing, so he relocates to the Ozarks to launder money and stuff like that. It's pretty interesting. All I will say is it episode 2? Just watch out for things falling from the sky. I ain't gonna spoil anything, but just watch for things falling out of the sky. Very, very, whoa. It was definitely one of those moments. Me and my wife looked at each other and was like, whoa, whoa.
I love those moments when you kind of look over and you're like, what was
happened?
that?
Yeah, and Jason Bateman's reaction is pretty much priceless. Because, man, he's all fired up about something, and he goes to some place. Next thing you know, it's like, whoa. It's really cool. So, definitely check it out. I think a lot of it was filmed down in Georgia, but some of the scenes and stuff were shot here in Missouri. This is tax credit stuff for filmmaking.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's so stupid.
Wouldn't imagine that it would be very expensive here.
You wouldn't think so, but if someone's going to give you tax credits so you can make stuff even cheaper, then you're going to go there. So, pretty good. So that does it for App Entertainment Hardware Picks. And now, it's time for Brad's beer pick of the week. Bring it.
All right, so I know it's been summer, I know it's been hot, but I am dreaming for fall, and I feel like a nice black IPA, Wookie Jack to be specific, from Firestone Walker Brewing Company. It's 8.3 ABV. It's pretty high, and it's 80 IBUs. It is nothing to toy with if you are not if you're a novice, I guess. You may not want to enjoy this right away.
Yeah, it's got a little kick to it, it looks like.
I enjoyed it thoroughly. I believe I gave it a solid 4 or 4.25.
This is right about where the other almost 92,000 ratings have averaged it out to be.
Yeah, and again, it's a black IPA. It kind of has those, dark, roasty taste to it, almost coffee because of that roastiness. But being as it's pretty high in alcohol content, it kind of one and done kind of thing, as it were. Mm-hmm. Highly recommend it, especially if you're just kind of looking for a change from all the light fizzy lagers that everyone seems to be enjoying right now, which I myself am also enjoying plenty of.
Right. Yeah, sometimes they're affordable, and sometimes you're like, I just want some fluid.
Exactly.
Flavor. Yeah. It is what it is. So, Firestone Walker Brewing Company. Interesting.
California.
Okay.
So you probably should be able to find it pretty easily wherever you are if you're in a big city. Only say that because I found it just fine over here in Missouri. So.
Okay. So that does it for this week. If there's any movies or any TV shows or anything like that you feel we should take a look at, or if there's anything that you would like us to talk more about in the future, let us know. Did you get a Super Nintendo Classic pre-order in at Walmart, and was it canceled or not canceled? I'm curious to know based on what listeners have found from their experience. Like I said, it was only up for about 40 minutes.
Yeah, and if you can't get a pre-order, are you going to wait in line for one?
All right. There's always Amazon and Best Buy to open up their pre-orders, and I think Target might as well. I've got alerts and stuff set up for all these places. And I'll be so glad when I can turn a lot of these Twitter notifications off for certain Twitter accounts. Because, man, it's just delusion. Oh, notification after notification sometimes. I don't want every tweet.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. That's the way it's been. So I'm really looking forward to getting this done and behind me so I can turn that stuff off.
Yeah, I will fully admit I have a lot of notifications turned off or kind of silenced where they just buzz because sometimes they drive me nuts.
Yeah. Oof. If I don't need a notification from an app, it gets flicked off.
Yep.
Quickly. But yeah, just let us know. You can just hit us up on Twitter. That's our favorite place. Or maybe let us know on the Facebook page. If you would like, it'd be great to do. It'd be wonderful. Mm-hmm. But no, I'd say that pretty much does it for this week. We're going to go try to stay cool.
Yeah.
Even though it's cooler today.
Being as it's the end of July, Oktoberfest is right around the corner.
I know. Just about 2 more months.
I can't. No. It's going to be coming out within this week.
Yeah, that's true.
At least a local brewery down the road from me said August 1st for theirs. Another local brewery, which is one of my more favorite ones, Schlafly, which we've mentioned plenty of times on the show. Theirs usually comes around early August, sometimes late July. It kind of depends. And typically Samuel Adams has like one of the first Oktoberfest out. I mean, this week is when they're going to start thinking about launching it, and whoever launches the first Oktoberfest gets my money typically, because I
at least gets it first.
Tired of summer at this point.
Yeah,
I know most of you love summer, but for those of you who hate winter, that's where I'm sitting right now with summer.
All right, now I can understand, man. This in St. Louis, we hit a record yesterday, 108 was the temperature.
No,
I don't even know the quote unquote what it feels like.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was much warmer than that, but man, 108, that's crazy.
I'm done. Let's get to fall now.
It's amazing what happens when the Earth shifts on its axis just a smidge.
Or climate change or anything like that. But we won't get into that.
It's a nice little combination of all the above. And with seeing a lot of these movies lately, I have seen the trailer for the next Inconvenient Truth movie, the Al Gore documentary. So this is like part 2. I've seen that trailer numerous times, and yeah, I'm going to go check that out.
Oh, yeah. It's funny how much I have changed as a person since the first one came out. Just the first one, I thought he was a nutcase. And by the second one, I fully stand behind what that man stands for right now.
Yeah.
Just in that space alone. I don't know about what the rest he feels like he really just kind of focuses on climate change. Yeah. And that's where I sit. So
it's interesting after the trailer plays, I always try to pay attention to what other people might be saying immediately after. I don't hear anybody say anything negative.
No, I think people are starting to understand and see it, especially in a lot of just... I mean, look at Arizona where everything was melting. Yeah. I mean, they make things specifically not to do that, and they still melted, so... Just saying.
Pretty darn hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was also, that white paint or white pavement or whatever that we were talking about on Facebook this week.
So, yeah, they have that new kind of coating that they put over blacktop, and it kind of makes it more of a whitewashed.
It helps reflect instead of absorb the heat.
Yeah, and so instead of the pavement being 117 degrees, it was like 94.
Yeah.
Which is like a huge difference.
Right.
And in cities especially. And being as I live in the city, I would like that sometime soon, please.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. That was pretty neat stuff. Maybe we should have put that in the show notes to discuss more about the day. But anyway, that's what it is.
Yeah. This
episode is done. So until we talk again next time, consider yourself informed. We hope we informed you. Well, we're out.
Bye-bye.